Did it work?
Yes, it's working. I can see you.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, awesome.
Isn't that
I'm
the
sorry.
worst? It's the um
Awesome.
I think I don't know if we're on a delay or not. It's the worst. Sorry.
I have a little bit of a delay for you, but maybe you'll go away.
Okay, hopefully. Let's give it a try and then if we need to, we can do that. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Hey everybody. I am so excited to be here with Ali. We are talking about the love hypothesis.
You have the Illuminate edition.
I know. It's so beautiful.
I love it.
I love it.
I love the edges. Like they're such the perfect color. And it works so well with I don't know, is it pink or red?
It's more of like, I mean, it's a combination. So I guess maybe magenta, like a deep magenta. Do you have one?
Perfect. I do. Someone sent me one, but I couldn't decide. Like when I saw it, I was like, is this pink or red? And I thought about it for many hours.
Well, I have the original up here. I tried to like just it like a little.
I don't even have a copy. This is
Well, I mean,
oh well. I have a copy of The Love Con, this
oh
amazing, fantastic book that I recommend to everyone, and of A Brush with Love.
my God. Oh my here. I love Maisie and love, and I'm like, I want everyone to read it. I want her to get a fancy edition. Like,
Same. This it would be like maybe something with edges that like have little toothbrushes or something.
I'm all for it. I'm for the whole thing.
It would be, yes. No, I mean it would be amazing. I please someone make it happen. I don't know who, someone.
Someone just make it.
This is a plea for help. We need this.
Well, thank you so much for taking time here and so crazy for you. So I'm really grateful that you're chatting with me tonight.
Thank you for having me. I'm not at my best in the sense that I was gone for the weekend and now I'm back home. And I have been like doing all the work that I didn't do over the weekend and yesterday, like at home in my PJs all day. And I was like, I should probably like shower and get changed for this live. But then I was like, no, let's let's show our true selves.
Yeah, who cares? I did try to put on some makeup for this, but
And
I'm
you look great.
thanks. Well, so the love hypothesis has been out in the world for a little while now. I say that because watching, we are going to try to stay spoiler free, but also like you've had a little bit of time. So in advance.
We gave you your chance.
Yeah, sorry. But with that in mind, can you give us a little bit of summary or like an elevator pitch for this book?
Yes. The Love Hypothesis is the story of a third year PhD student who ends up fake dating a professor in her department to convince her best friend that she is over her ex. And that's because her best friend is into her ex. And she wants her best friend to feel free to kind of um, go for it. And yeah, that's pretty much it, really. And then, like in every single fake dating book, they end up falling in love. um yeah, that's it.
Well,
It's been the book has been out over 6 months and I still don't have like perfected the elevator pitch, so a problem.
I think it's doing okay to not have a perfected elevator pitch. So,
So it's okay. So basically, this tells me that my ability to perfect an elevator pitch does not influence sales or anything else, which means that I won't even bother for the next book. I'm just gonna like let it go.
there you go. You just put one out, people will buy it. Well,
Hopefully.
you mentioned um, fake dating. So it kind of, I have like questions prepared, but it kind of jumping right to it. What I mean, you have a lot of really great tropes in this book. And it's like Grumpy Sunshine, got almost one bed, all of these great. So, what as a reader is your favorite trope to read? And then, of course, what is your favorite one to write?
It changes so much as a reader, but like right now, the latest book I read was Something Wilder by Christina Lauren. It actually comes out, I have no idea when it comes out, but like soon, right?
Next month, some. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know the exact
I
date.
don't know if you've read it.
Not yet.
But it's no, yeah, okay. Well, it's like this really cool adventure romance, and right now I just love it. I love every second of it. So right now, my favorite tropes are basically the tropes that were in that book. And one was like, second chance romance. So you have like these two people who had a thing 10 years ago, and then like, they went their separate ways because of life, but then now they're together again, and just like that feeling of what could have been and ended up not being, and I got super into it. And then something that I really really loved that they had in that book was there was only one sleeping bag. It was
Nice.
amazing. It's like the best version of there was only one bed, and I went crazy for it. So right now there was a sleeping bag is like literally my favorite thing in the world. I'm obsessed. It's like even closer than the bed, you just like you cannot get out, you cannot like roll
Yeah,
away. It's a sleeping bag. There's no room.
I cannot wait to read.
So that's it. You love it. It's just such a great book. It's just I don't know. It's a fun book. You know what I'm saying? Um, And okay, so the rest of the question was what's my favorite to write? And I don't really know. I think I like what I really, really like to write is like Guy falls first and then Guy pines a lot. The name of the book someone asked is Something Wilder by Christina Lauren. I have an arc, but not here because I have this book. Let's promote it some more.
Yes, which also has I Falls First, let me just say.
He pines.
Yes, the best. Okay, so I think we're still on a little bit of a delay, so I'm going to try to push through that. um, but people don't know where you got the inspiration for this book. So I think it's super fun, and I would love for you to tell everyone who's watching.
Yeah, so the book was originally a fan fiction, a Star Wars fan fiction. So I was really into like Star Wars and especially like Rey and Kylo Ren, who are, if you're not familiar with the new Star Wars movie, it's basically the two guys, like the two main characters, kind of. There are several main characters, and he's the bad guy, and she's the good guy in the galaxy, and they are like the strongest beings and whatever. But the book was like an alternate universe fan fiction. So basically, take the characters and transpose them into a totally different setting with a totally different background and I had been wanting to write something about, I guess, about like academia or set in science for a while, just because that's my own background and what I know how to write. So I was really into it, and yeah, it was initially a fan fiction, and then yeah, and then my agent read it, and she was like, "I think we could publish this. I think traditional publishing might be interested." And then if we edit it, and that's what we did.
That's so great. I love that so much. So how much did it change from your first initial concept to finally like when it was published?
I mean, quite a bit, honestly. Especially like the fan fiction was very serialized. Like it was a chapter. I would write a chapter. I would post it, and then I would just, kind of like not think about it for a while and then write another chapter and then post it. So it was kind of like every chapter was relatively self-contained. So the story didn't really have good like coherence and overarching, stories that would work that well. Actually, the fan fiction is out there. It's floating on the internet. So you can find it if you're interested.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure where I had to technically like take it down, just like for copyright reasons, because now it's, my publishers. But I know a bunch of people have posted it, and I'm, personally totally okay with it. So if you find it out there, you could, compare it. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, we edited it a lot, like a lot. There were a bunch of things that just didn't really make sense in a traditionally published romance, or that didn't make sense. You didn't have the, Star Wars background, I guess, if you weren't reading it
Right.
as a fan fiction of specific characters. And then again, like I said, it kind of had to grow a plot because it had no plot, no like overarching plot. So yeah, I would say a shit ton of edits, a year worth of edits.
Oh man, that was tough. Well, one of the things
I
really,
was mostly, sorry,
no, you're good.
it's a delay. I'm sorry.
No, it's too much. Well, what I was saying is one of the things that I love so much about this book is the friendship dynamics and Olive's but Adams too. So I was wondering which friend was the most fun or challenging to write.
They all were. It's always, I feel like for me, when I write a book, writing the friends is always the most fun part, just because the stakes are a little bit like lighter, and you don't have to like, I don't know, it's the dynamics usually come more natural. So I truly really
Right.
like writing, just writing side characters. I really like Holden is fun because he just has no filter. He just says whatever. And Malcolm was fun because he's the only person in there who has some common sense. Let's be real. He's like the adult of that group. And Anne is just fun to write because I feel like Anne is the most similar to me. Like she's nosy a little bit and like pushy. And I'm like, I love her. She's the one. I don't know. I love Anne so much. So yeah, definitely. Like honestly, they're also fun to write, and yeah, I can't choose one. It's I love all my children.
That's totally fair. I was going to ask you which character you related to the most. Um, so I'm pivoting to less happy topic. I was going like Olive's career was kind of shaped by this grief and personal loss that she experienced. So I was wondering, how difficult it was to kind of like tap into that, or were you able to tap into a personal experience and just like, write that dynamic and that experience for her?
No, not really a personal experience. Like I feel like I just wanted her to have a good reason, like a reason to get into STEM that wasn't just, I'm interested in this. That was a little bit more personal. I think it was mostly because I just wanted it to be relatable in the sense that I wanted people to understand why she was basically like why her entire identity was shaped so much by her ability to do this type of research. It was just very important for her. Something it wasn't just a job. Like it's not just a job for her. Her entire life is the research that she is able to do, and when that's threatened, when she feels like she cannot do it anymore, she kind of like has to find another way, and so that was it. That's why I wanted to give her another reason that is not just like I'm into science. I'm good at science. Um, and there are it's kind of like one of those things. It's something that I've seen a lot in STEM, like people being interested in a specific topic. It has a specific personal connotation for them. Not everyone.
Right.
Like there are some people who are just interested in the mechanism of something, but it's definitely something that I had seen around me. So definitely took inspiration from like friends' stories and things like that.
That makes a lot of sense. The other thing that she experiences that is heavier is the sexual assault situation, which spoiler alert, that happened. I thought you did a really great job at writing, the emotional range that you go through, that one goes through when something like that happens to them. And I'm interested to know why that was an important part for you to include in this story and in Olive's story.
I think it's such a common thing in generally in I mean, okay, it's actually a common thing everywhere, sadly. It's not like I don't really think that it's more common necessarily in STEM academia than in other branches of academia. I don't think it's more common in academia than in other workplaces. But I also sometimes feel like, based on the specific dynamics that I find in different fields, it it cannot take slightly different forms. And definitely my experience has been that in STEM academia, because STEM is such a field that has a history of being male dominated, this type of harassment usually is often coupled with just belittling women's work or women's contributions to science. And yeah, like I was it was something that I wanted to capture because it's happened so often in my experience. It's something that I've seen happen around me so much. um yeah, so it just really seemed to fit Dory based on what I know about STEM academia and what happens in it.
Yeah. Have you found that it has opened up that conversation about this about?
I'm sorry, the conversation about what? It's my
Oh no.
internet did things.
No, I was just wondering that have people like kind of talked to you about that since this book has come out and maybe their own experiences or just opened up more of a conversation with others.
I think so. I really do think so. I mean, it's really nice. Like I've had people, DM me about it or telling me I feel similarly to Olive, to like the way Olive feels within the novel, just generally about like a woman in STEM, or just generally about like being in grad school and feeling overwhelmed all around. And I've had people telling me, this is similar to what happened to me. So I do think it's such a sadly common experience. Um, yeah, and I feel like pretty much everyone in STEM story that is just, and I mean, they go from us generally feeling, left out or feeling like you don't matter as much as other people, to like even worse situations. Like there is a whole range, but it seems to me like my experience as a woman in STEM who talks with other women in STEM is that um, it's very common to have a very negative experience. So there's that, sadly.
Yeah. Ugh, I hate that, but I'm so glad it's being talked about more. Try to move into happier topics now. um, so one of the things you're on it, but it's one of my favorite tropes too, is when the guy falls first and he's just pining and pining. So we learned that about Adam and he like kind of sits in the wings for years, and then when he finally gets his chance, he like takes it. But other than the fact that it would totally change the story, why did you decide to write him as someone that like played the long game and waited forever?
Like I actually was thinking about this a lot recently because I was doing for one of I participated to a charity auction and then I had to do these like full annotation of the book, and that was like one of the questions that I got asked. And I don't know that Adam was necessarily waiting in his head. I think he kind of liked her from the very beginning, but I don't know that he was like desperately in love with her for the entire time. He had only really met her once. I think it was more of a case of he meets her, he likes her, he thinks she's really, cute and funny, and maybe it's like very unusual for him because he's not the type of guy who just notices these things about women or about people in general. He's probably like a little bit closed off. But then what happened that in my head, this is my personal head canon, but I also believe in like the death of the author. So feel free to disregard it if you don't like it. What happens is that in my head, when Olive then like moves and goes to Stanford, uh, he thinks she will remember him, and maybe like he's thinking of approaching her, but Adam kind of maybe what happens is that like he realizes at some point in the hallways that she has no idea who he is, and that she just either doesn't remember or doesn't recognize him. Something happened, or maybe she's still convinced that he's a PhD student. I don't know, but basically she has no idea. So this connection that he thought was there is just not there anymore. And I think Adam is kind of like, yes, he's into her, but it's not like he's deeply in love with her at that point. He's just intrigued. So he's like, you know what? I mean, I guess we kind of missed each other. And over the years, he sees her around and like he notices, and like he kind of likes her more than he would otherwise like anyone maybe. But he also doesn't, I don't think it's a long game that he's playing. I don't think he's like, oh yeah, well, one day I'll ask her out, maybe when she graduates. But I really do think that it's more of it just kind of happens that, she kisses him one night and then he kind of falls into this opportunity. And when he realizes that she has this, issue that requires a fake dating partner, which sounds weird, but okay. Then he says yes. And he kind of like inserts himself into her life when he sees the opportunity. So yeah, I really don't think he was spending years. I mean, maybe he pined, but not in a lovesick way, more in a, oh, I wish things were a different way.
Yeah,
I feel like it makes it less
I like that.
creepy, less stalkerish. Thank you.
Okay, that's fair. I like it. um, so there is a secret here, and I am always so curious. Were you intimidated to write it? What has the reception been like from like your friends and family? Just tell me about that experience.
Did you, okay, actually you cut off again, but was it a sex scene? Did I,
Yes.
okay.
Were you?
I was like, based on the question, I bet she said sex scene while she was cutting off.
Yes.
Well, I don't let anyone in my life read the book. So if they want to read the book, they can, but I have asked them not to, so they can't come to me and tell me about having read it, which is a perfect thing. Actually, like my husband's mother, like my mother-in-law, read it,
Ooh.
and I I was like, great. I never want to talk to her again. Fantastic. I come from like the fan fiction school of writing, so like I am used to writing sex. Like I am used to reading sex. I have like I'm not like I don't really get embarrassed. My friends and I like would gift each other like little one shots of porn for our birthdays. So truly, like I like when it comes to my friends, I'm totally okay with it. Um, but it's a little bit weirder when it's people who are in my life for other reasons, like my colleagues, I don't know, reading it. And that's why I don't really tell much to them about like people I work with. I don't think they know that I wrote this book. It's written under another name.
Uh,
So like it's not like my last name is not really Hazelwood, so they probably wouldn't be able to like find it. Um, and yeah, like I like to think that no one knows that C even exists, except for my friends who are very sex positive.
right.
That's my that's my line of belief, and I stand by that.
Okay. Yeah. You have to go. Okay. So if you eat the love hypothesis on the big screen, have you thought through, I mean, other than like the obvious, who you would want to play?
uh, you know what? I recently watched Euphoria and became aware of the existence of Jacob Elordi. I
Mm-hmm.
hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. And I was like, he would be perfect. I was
Oh,
like, he would be a great Adam. 90 out of 10 would recommend. I would put these vibes into the universe. Um, Olive, you know, there are so many brilliant young actresses, honestly. Like, it's so hard to say. Um, yeah, I wouldn't even know who could be a good Olive, honestly. Do you have thoughts?
I I try not to think about it. I try to let it be like I come into it and say, "You tell me," and then we'll figure it out. But I haven't thought about it enough.
Yeah, I mean, also, like, I am very, like, whenever someone sends me, like, people on TikTok or here on Instagram, they make, like reels and, like, boards and like mood boards, and they use models and actors, and every time I look at them and I'm like, oh wow, this person is perfect, oh this person is perfect, oh this person is perfect. So I feel like I am also very like open-minded when it comes to casting. Of course there is the like the obvious, like you said, but that's that's never gonna happen. So
Right. We can be convinced by anybody. Okay.
exactly, we are malleable. Exactly.
Okay, so if you, I don't even know if this is something you would ever do. Some people don't like to write with other people, but if you were to write a book with someone, who would your collaborate?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would be able to co-write anything. I feel like I have such I'm so scattered and messy with my writing that I feel like I would drive anyone crazy. But I would love to co-write with like Elena Armas. I love her writing and I love how tropey it is. So like I think it would be so much fun. Um, Emily, I feel like her book is actually coming out very soon. I think either next week or the following week. No, the following week. Her book is set on you, which yeah, I don't have that book yet. I read Annie Arc, but but it's like this amazing book about this Instagram influencer who's plus sized, and but like she's also like a fitness influencer. So the idea is like you can be fit and you can be sporty at all sizes. And she kind of like falls in love. Well, she falls in lust first and then love with her Instagram, with her gym nemesis. Like they go to the same gym and they kind of like have a rivalry thing going on. It's like the hating game, but in a gym. Delicious, fantastic. I love that book. So I was like, oh, I would love to go write with her. I love Lynn Painter. She wrote Mr. Wrong Number. She's just hilarious. Like she's one of the funniest person I know. So I would love to write with her. Um, Elizabeth Everett, actually. Elizabeth Everett is the other book that I had. She wrote A Perfect Equation and then A Lady's Formula for Love. And actually, she and I once pitched an anthology together that was like she writes historical ladies in science, and I write like contemporary ladies in science, and more like why don't we write like an anthology um, where the first story is set in the past and then like the second story is about like the descendant of the couple in the past, and the lady was a scientist in the Victorian era, and then she's also got like the her granddaughter is also going to be a scientist, and we had this like amazing idea for it, but it kind of didn't work out. It didn't get pitched. It got pitched, but the publisher wasn't super into it. But I would love to go write with her like that. So yeah, there are a bunch of people that I would love to write with.
Well, we'll take any of them or all of them, please. But that is a great
Please,
segue to
publishers.
yes. That's a great segue to the next question, which is tell us about your upcoming projects. You got some novellas. Your next book is coming out, which I will happily take an arc for anyone who wants to. But
I wish I had control over arcs. Like it's physically painful to me because I am like, I just want to give arcs to people. And I think that's probably why my publisher has like taken control of the arcs away from me. I think they're like done with giving me arcs and they're like, that's it. But yeah, I hope they get. If anyone from Berkeley is watching this, please give her an arc. She deserves it. Okay, so my upcoming projects are so I have these three novellas, and actually they're all out in audiobook. They are three novellas about three friends, all engineers. They used to be in grad school together, and then they graduated, and then they went to like different like fields. So they are different type of years. They moved away, and what happens is that they all kind of end up together with their professional rivals. So it's like three enemies to lovers stories about women in STEM. They're like shorter. They're about 30,000 words. And they are coming out in ebook starting, I want to say next week, but I am not 100% sure. It might be in 2 weeks. But like the ebook are coming out, the first one in May, the second one in June, and then the last one in July. And they're all already out in audiobook. And then they will come out in paperback together, like as a collection with an extra chapter that I just recently wrote in February, I want to say. I don't know that the date is on, but like I know in spring 2023. They made a new cover for that. I just saw the cover. It's very cute. Yeah. And then my next book, like full-length book, is coming out in August, and that's Love on the Brain. And that's a story of a neuroscientist who ends up having to co-lead a project at NASA with an engineer with whom she was in grad school together. And they kind of didn't get along, but maybe they did. Like there's something funky going on there that we don't really know at the beginning. Yeah, and that's coming out on August 23rd, I think. Yeah, I want to say August 23rd, but it might be like just around that date. I might have it wrong right now. It's been a long day. It's been a long weekend. And then yeah, that's it. This is what I have planned for now.
that's so exciting. I know, like, I can't wait for all of it. I wanted to do the audiobooks, but I can't get into them yet. I'm trying. So I'm
Same. I like it's. I feel like it's kind of weird that I have these like novellas that went out in audiobook because I don't listen to audiobook. Like I can listen to podcasts like
yeah.
or like nonfiction things, but fiction I truly just can't. So I am 100% okay with people telling me I was waiting. Also, like between us, hopefully my publisher is not watching this. Like the ebooks are super cheap, like are much cheaper than the audiobooks. They're like $3. So highly recommend. Yeah, totally. I'm totally on board with the waiting game.
Okay, so I wanted to jump back to the question I had because, but it is a very, very important question. And it is that in the Love Hypothesis, you do discuss the fact franchise. That is very important in my house. And so you care, but if you do, I need to know which do you think is the best film?
You know, I haven't seen all of them. I'm with Olive.
Okay.
I am an Olive girl. Like I do think Tokyo Drift is the best.
Okay. Okay.
But what's your favorite?
So I really am hardcore for the original. I love the original, but also Fast Five is probably like my ultimate favorite.
Okay.
Which fits.
Yeah, I remember actually having to Google like which Fast and Furious. Like I wanted to know what is to have Adam's opinion. I wanted to know what is considered the objectively best Fast and Furious movie. I remember having to Google it. But I
Yeah.
also remember feeling deep in my heart that Tokyo Drift was the best.
It's okay to be wrong sometimes. Um, well, I'm so glad that you joined us, and I don't want to take more of your time. I'm really excited for Love on the Brain, and I absolutely adore the Love Hypothesis. Hopefully, we can chat again. Next one comes, and maybe I'll be less on a delay. Um, but thank you so much for joining.
Or me.
Yeah, whichever one of us it is. Um, but have a great night. I'll talk to you soon.
You too. Thank you for everything. This was so much fun. And what was I gonna say? Yeah, no. If anyone is here from Berkeley, please, this girl deserves an arc, as we all know.
There. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Good night.